Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of T the Goalie. My name is Taylor Schwant. Let's get right into it. This is really just a little intro episode about me and what you guys can expect from my channel moving forward. I'm 26 years old. I'm from the greater Philadelphia area in a town called Westchester. It's about 35 minutes outside of the city, and that's where I grew up playing too and spent most of my life there. As far as my professional background so far, last season I was with the Blue Water Stars in the Michigan Independence Hockey League. That's semi-pro. That was like my first real shot of like semi-pro, minor pro hockey. And this season I started out with the Danbury Hat-Tricks in the Federal Prospects Hockey League. That was my first real like minor pro experience there. Super cool. Was there all throughout training camp and preseason. Unfortunately, ultimately ended up getting released after preseason, but fortunately, I have a new opportunity in the American Premier Hockey League, which is semi-pro, with the Summit City Distillers. They are based out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I just relocated here about 3 days ago and getting settled in and everything. I'm just really excited for this opportunity and to kind of keep moving upward and moving onward and just finishing out the season with a great group of guys. One thing about my pro background that I forgot to add, but I wanted to add because it's kind of important to how I got my opportunity with Blue Water. I attended my first pro camp. It was the FPHL league-wide free agent camp, August of 2023. There was about 50 goalies that came to the first day of tryouts. They sent us an email probably like 2 weeks prior letting us know that they had to cut it down to 16. So it was a 2-hour ice slot of just goalie drills and them evaluating goalies. Turns out I made the cut through and got to the final 16 or the Sweet 16, which is awesome. And that garnered some attention. That really turned people's heads and kind of started my journey in making a name for myself in the men's minor pro space. Later on in September, I still went like without a signing. I'd been talking to a few teams, but nothing ended up panning out for me. But anyway, later on in September, I went to the Quad City Storms free agent camp, which is in the Southern Professional Hockey League, and did well there. Also garnered some attention from that, turned a lot of heads. It was a great experience. I absolutely loved the Quad Cities. Ultimately did not end up getting an invite to main camp, but I would say it was a good showing. Blue Water heard about it. They ended up reaching out to me like October 2023, and that really kicked off another opportunity for me that would later lead into my FPHL opportunities. I won't get too much into my background prior to my minor pro and semi-pro, only because I've already been on a few other podcasts and have already talked about it. So I don't want to be recycling content, if that makes sense. Two of the shows that I've been on that really get into that are the Power Play Post Show hosted by Bobby Howard and On the Spot Sports hosted by Jack Hudec. They are great people, two of my great friends, and they have both been so supportive of me throughout my own journey ever since I've met them. And honestly, two really great shows with really great dialogue. I encourage you guys to go check those out. I'm going to link those shows in the description down below, so I would highly encourage you to look at them. Power Play Post Show with Bobby, that's going to get more into like me growing up outside of Philly and my background in youth hockey with On the Spot Sports with Jack. That's going to get more into like my college and junior background. So again, yeah, if you want to take a look and you want to get more information on that, highly encourage you to go listen to those. Both great creators and definitely deserve the support too. Another really important thing I wanted to cover, obviously, is ultimately why I started this channel. So I'm typically a more reserved person on social media. I don't really like posting a lot about myself personally. I tend to stay in my lane and just kind of focus on what I'm doing. I don't always like for everybody to know what I'm doing, if that makes sense. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Not that it's anything bad, but personally, I don't believe everybody needs to know everything that's going on in your life at a given time. Some things are meant to just stay a little more personal, and that's how I've always felt, or at least in recent years as I started to get older, probably moving into my late teens, about social media in general and things I've learned from probably posting some things that I shouldn't. I also didn't want to give off the impression that I'm doing what I'm doing for attention, because that couldn't be further from the truth. I am doing what I'm doing because that's where I feel most like my authentic self. And to be honest, I would say at times that I didn't find this journey, that this journey found me. I firmly believe in we're supposed to be exactly where we are now, and we're all meant to do something. We all have a special purpose, and we all have a really unique path to take in life. I just happen to think that this is my unique path and this is where I'm meant to be. For what reason, that's beyond me. I couldn't say why, but honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way at this point. I also want to inspire others to follow their dreams, no matter how out of reach they may seem, no matter what odds are working against you. You deserve a chance just as much as anybody else does, as long as you know your why and as long as you're willing to put in that work to get to where you want to be. It does not matter at the end of the day. And also, with everything I've done already, with some of the attention that I've garnered from my journey so far, I feel that I have a really unique platform to be able to give more exposure to the semi-pro and minor pro space, because after being in those spaces, let me tell you, there are so many talented guys out there. They're working so hard and they deserve a little bit more exposure, and these leagues deserve to be shown in a little bit of a better light than they are sometimes. And yeah, I think these guys deserve to have a platform themselves. And if I can do something to kind of spread more awareness to these leagues, I feel that I'm almost in a way doing my part, other than being out there and playing well. The last thing here I really wanted to cover was what everybody can expect as far as my content moving forward. I kind of started my social media a little bit preemptively because I've been spending a lot of time deliberating on how I would approach content creating. I don't really want the distraction of doing a day in the life, that type of content, because it can take away from my own preparation and focus, which ultimately my own minor pro, semi-pro journey and career comes first. And I just have seen in the past that it can be distracting for myself and others, and I'm not going to put myself or like my teammates or anybody else in that type of situation. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to focus more on my own stories and experiences, kind of making content surrounding that. And I'll share some clips when they're readily available to my Instagram and to YouTube Shorts, not necessarily like full-length videos like that. But there's a lot to talk about, and there's always a lot to share because, to be honest, there's always so much going on in the minor pro and semi-pro spaces. Things can change on a dime, so it's really cool to be able to share some of those stories and to give people an inside look, especially from a perspective that you're not really going to get anywhere else. On that note, I'm going to wrap things up now. There is so much more to come because, one, I'm on a new team now, and we're in the second half, more like the home stretch of the season at this point. So that'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. And with the end of the season, obviously an off season then begins, and that'll be a whole nother grind and new journey to get back into the pros full time. Hopefully looking for a PTO, heading to another team for training camp, whatever it may be. I'm just really looking forward to that, and also in general looking forward to sharing my story and starting this new journey with you guys. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of T the Goalie. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. I appreciate any and all engagement, and I will look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.